Hi, and welcome to the Jack and Ian Show. We appreciate you checking us out if this is your first time or if you've been following us now for the last few weeks. Today on the show, we're going to get to a lot of football news. We're going to talk NFL and college football. It was a great weekend for football.
Yep, it was.
In general, across the board. We're also going to get to some soccer in the segment, so you think you know about soccer. And then we'll wrap it up with some entertainment news as well. So I think we're going to have a good show today. With that said, I think let's go ahead and start talking some sports with the NFL weekend that we had.
Awesome. All right, let's do it. So starting off, as always, we're going to go right into the NFL recaps with our players of the week. And so first off, I think this guy has been outstanding this year. A lot of people thought he kind of got off to a bit of a slow start with the Bills, and it wasn't as good as last season, but Josh Allen this week was pretty amazing. He went 15 for 26, 315 yards, and 3 touchdowns in their 38-20 win over the Kansas City Chiefs. And, you know, this guy, again, he got off to a bit of a slow start. Everyone was thinking, the Bills gave him a huge contract, but he hasn't been living up to it. Honestly, ever since people made those comments, he's been shutting up the haters. I got to be honest.
Yeah, no, he's looked really good. You know, I mean, going 15 for 26 for 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. Yep. That's extremely impressive. He started playing a lot better. That Bills team is a tough team to play, and they'll continue to be that. To me, though, the bigger storyline out of this game, obviously, you had Allen play a great game, but the bigger storyline here is the Chiefs. The Chiefs are now 2-3. The Chiefs have been a team the last few seasons that have played extraordinarily well. But Mahomes was outdueled.
Yeah.
Mahomes was 33 for 54, and he only threw for 272 yards, and he had 2 interceptions in the game.
Huge.
He did have 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 picks. He did not play very well at all by anybody's standards. Josh Allen looked far better. Yep. And now the Chiefs are 2-3.
Yep.
They don't look good.
Yeah.
They don't look good at all.
Chiefs
and that's
are
a big issue.
Yeah. So the Chiefs are definitely in trouble, and again, Josh Allen had a fantastic week on top of those 3 touchdowns.
To me, with the Chiefs, though, I think there's some bigger stuff. I mean, you also saw some stuff with just the Mahomes family. Now you're getting some off-the-field drama, which is never good. You had Patrick Mahomes' fiance, Brittany Matthews, tweeting out at some Chiefs fans. She wasn't very happy. And you've always had Jackson Mahomes there.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, he needs to find, I don't know if this is legally it can happen, but he needs to find a way to divorce his brother. He needs to find some way, somehow. His family will continue to be a distraction. They have been a distraction, specifically Jackson, his fiance. They've just been pretty entitled for no reason. With Jackson specifically, what does he even do?
Honestly, he's a TikTok influencer, which, in my opinion, I don't want to hurt anyone out there, but being a TikTok influencer basically means you're self-employed without a job.
He needs to get it. I wouldn't care if Jackson Mahomes were like a dentist or a lawyer or a mechanic.
Yeah.
Those seem
but he doesn't do anything, right? And this guy just kind of feeds on the riches of his brother, I kind of feel like. He takes advantage of that. And so, he
takes advantage of the last name. Now, I guess getting to the tweets a little bit, she's a physical trainer, so at least she has a job. Now, that said, her job doesn't entail much. It means drinking smoothies and wearing leggings all day. Now, she said the refs are never in our favor. I think the 49er fans would beg to differ.
Yes.
She also said, "Why y'all so mad?" which is just asking for trouble on Twitter. Because that's just going to make them even more angry.
She knows exactly what she's doing by taking, the platform on Twitter and, trash talking Chiefs fans and other NFL fans.
And the person that responded, I feel like actually made a decent point. She said, I forget the account, but she said, "Girl, you need to stop. This was long before Mahomes was here. It's not giving the organization a good look. Yep. The Chiefs are bigger than you or me or any one player."
Yeah.
Which is true. When she goes out and acts like Patrick Mahomes, the only player on the team, and that he's the best quarterback in the NFL, which I don't blame her for that. She should pull for him.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe she should pull for him a little more silently.
Yeah. It doesn't need to be that obvious and out there.
Maybe she should focus on her career, and then when she sees him, she's like, "Hey, you played great." Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But she doesn't need to respond by saying in the nicest way possible, shut up.
Yeah. It's just uncalled for, but anyways, though, just...
It makes Patrick Mahomes more unlikable, and it adds off-the-field drama to a season that's already started off 2-3.
Yeah.
It's a bad look for the Chiefs in general,
Yep.
and the Chiefs overall are really in a downward trend right now.
Yep, they are.
I don't know if anybody really saw it coming.
Yeah.
But we've been talking about this for the last few weeks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so later on in the podcast, we'll definitely get into the Chiefs and their early season struggles. But let's move on to the NFC Player of the Week. And I don't think this comes to anyone as a surprise, but Derrick Henry is back on our Players of the Week board. 29 carries, 130 rushing yards, and 3 touchdowns in the Titans' 37-19 win over the struggling Jaguars. So, again, last week we talked about Urban Meyer not taking that 0-4 start that hard, and now the Jags are 0-5, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Struggles are continuing.
Derrick Henry's back to mid-season form. I mean, this is what he does.
Yep.
He runs the ball 30 times, he gets 130 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
And he gets progressively better as the game goes on
Yep.
because he just wears on them.
He does, yeah. And I think this is a trend that we've seen this season in Derrick Henry is that he starts off games a bit slower than normal, but then come the second half, he's just a completely different player. And I think we saw that in the Seattle game where, if I'm not mistaken, he had a 60-yard rushing touchdown, which pretty much blew the gates open against Seattle. So
yeah, that's what got him kind of back into that game.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry now the last 2 or 3 weeks has played absolutely incredible, and it's good to see. It's good to see because he started the year a little bit slower than he had the last few. He's now showing that he hadn't really lost a step at all. Mm-hmm. It just was that they happened to have a few weeks there, 2 or 3 weeks, where he wasn't as good as normal.
Yeah.
It's good to see him now back in mid-season form.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Jaguars' win isn't anything special.
No, it's not.
I mean, it's a win.
Expected.
It's a division win, so that's nice. But it's not anything to write home about, really.
Yeah.
Um,
But anyways, those are our Players of the Week. Josh Allen for the Bills had an amazing week against the Chiefs, and then Derrick Henry continuing to blow it up in the AFC East. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
AFC East. Yeah.
The NFL also had one other good game. This was last night. As the Baltimore Ravens had an unbelievable comeback against the Indianapolis Colts. Lamar Jackson is a running back no more. He decided to become a quarterback last night.
Yeah.
He realized that, I'm not actually listed as a running back on the depth chart. And so he's like, I can throw the ball? And so he did. And he threw the ball extremely well. He went 37 for 43 for 442 yards, 4 touchdowns. Unbelievable come from behind win.
Yeah.
Had 1 incompletion in the first half and was absolutely incredible all game, all the way through overtime.
Yeah.
Leading to that win.
Yeah, I mean, Lamar Jackson played terrifically. And I think it's interesting because coming into the season, you saw those injuries to J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards.
Yeah.
And I think immediately after both of those guys got injured and, we're going to be out for the season, I think everyone was like, okay, Lamar Jackson's going to have to be the running back for this team. But they've really changed their approach. And, I mean, just like Jack said, he barely ran the ball. I mean, he still had 62 rushing yards, but he's taken the game into a passing game instead of him on his feet, picking up the yards.
He looked a lot more comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah.
Normally, I feel like when Lamar would take off and run and even get like 20 yards on a run and make a good play, he decided to sit back in the pocket and deliver a good pass.
Yeah.
And that's something that should be encouraging because we know he's still going to be able to run. But this also will hopefully add longevity to his career.
Yeah.
You see with guys that run like Cam Newton or whatever, they can tend to fall off once they kind of lose that athletic ability.
Yeah, especially when they take hits.
Just because they don't have that longevity that like a Tom Brady or Drew Brees did or Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Those guys are able to play a long time because they're able to sit back and deliver passes and just be a good game commander really for that offense.
No, exactly.
And that's what we're kind of seeing Lamar Jackson he just ripped apart that Indianapolis Colts defense.
Yeah, and talking about passing, Lamar actually just set a new NFL record for completion percentage for quarterbacks with over 40 pass attempts. And he set that record at 86%. So he had an 86 completion percentage in this game.
which is
It was
unbelievably high. And it wasn't like they were all little dump down passes either.
No.
A lot of them were deep shots, too.
Yeah.
He played incredibly. I mean, obviously it was a slow start. You got down fast to the Carson Wentz-led Colts.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor played great for them, so shout out to him.
He did.
But the Colts played looked like they played their guts out, but it was too much. Lamar Jackson played too good of a game, a near perfect game that a quarterback can have.
Yeah.
He looked unbelievable.
Yeah. And then because Lamar's only the quarterback, you need someone on the other side to really obviously to catch the ball, but to make that difference for the receiving side of things. And so I do want to shout out two guys in particular. I think Mark Andrews had a fantastic game.
Andrews had both 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
He had 2 touchdown passes, catches. He as the tight end over there in Baltimore played an absolutely stellar game last night.
Yeah, so Mark Andrews had a great game, 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, as Jack said. And then Marquise Brown, who earlier on in the season had struggles, especially against Detroit when he dropped 2 touchdowns. But in this game, he had 9 catches, 125 yards, and 2 touchdowns to basically come back against the Colts when they were down 22-3 towards the end of the third quarter.
Yes.
22-3. That's crazy.
Crazy comeback.
Yeah.
Lot of overtime games this week.
Yes.
Also.
Yes.
A lot of overtime games. And also with that Colts team, I mean, Rodrigo Blankenship had some struggles.
He did. Kickers had struggles in general this weekend.
It was a bad kicker week. 13 missed extra points is the most extra points missed ever in one week in NFL history.
Yeah.
It's hard to overstate how bad it was.
It's pretty embarrassing. I mean, yes, the NFL moved back the PAT try, maybe 15, 20 yards, but these are easy chip shots that these professionals should be making, so.
Yeah. It was really bad, particularly in that Green Bay Bengals game.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody could make a field goal.
No.
Nobody.
Yeah.
It got really bad. I think they missed 6 in the last 3 minutes of the game plus overtime.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. And then finally Crosby knocked one through.
Yeah.
To finish it, but it was hard to watch. I thought that game was getting into a tie because I was like, unless some team finds the end zone, this is not going to end.
Yeah.
These teams are playing too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Too bad.
Exactly.
The kickers specifically, the teams were getting them in field goal range.
They were, yeah.
But they just could not kick it through. NFL should consider taking kicking out of the game, make it a little more professional. It was really, really bad. That Packers-Bengals game, though, did give me hope of one day becoming an NFL kicker.
Yeah,
I think
those guys are going to be out.
I think if I started today, I could probably get there in a year based on how much talent they showed.
Yeah.
But it was bad.
Yeah, but anyways, that Green Bay Bengals game, it was a great game until you got into the last, 2 minutes, 30 seconds of the fourth quarter, because I've got it right here, so I'll just read it to you, I guess. So with 2 minutes and 14 seconds in the fourth, Mason Crosby misses a 36-yard field goal.
These are all to take the lead, by the way.
Yeah, these are all to take the lead.
Every single one of these field goals that he's about to read is to win the game.
Yeah. So Crosby misses a 36-yard field goal, gives it to Bengals. Bengals with 26 seconds left, and they miss a 57-yard field goal. And then with 3 seconds left, the Packers have the ball again, and Crosby, with the chance to win it, misses a 51-yard field goal. And now you're tied, 22-22? Going into overtime?
Some in the 20s, they were going to overtime, yeah.
And then you go into overtime, Crosby has a 40-yard attempt, misses that. Then with 4 minutes left, McPherson has a 49-yard attempt, misses that as well. And then finally, Mason Crosby put everyone out of their misery, and he made a 49-yard field goal, which, he missed easier ones before that, but my gosh, it was a pretty embarrassing end to the game.
It was embarrassing for both teams. I think we were all just happy it was over. That was the real win.
Yeah.
That was the real win of the game.
Yeah.
I don't think any kicker should take credit for the game winner.
Yeah.
Nobody had a game winner. That was, you got lucky one time.
Exactly.
For Crosby.
And I mean, credit to both of those offenses to even just get their kickers into those positions to go for the game-winning field goal, so.
Right.
Anyways, moving on now, though, we do want to talk about probably the biggest story of the week in terms of football, and that's Jon Gruden resigning from the Las Vegas Raiders after some comments that he made, whether that was straight up to someone face-to-face, emails, other comments over the years. I'm just going to say it. I think it's really disappointing. Obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinions and beliefs, but it's disappointing to hear that someone would use those kinds of words to describe other coworkers, other people in the industry, like Roger Goodell. You know, he talks about coaches behind their backs, things like that, and it's disturbing. You know, knowing that there's someone like that in the league.
And then you, as a Raiders fan, now have to kind of be like, okay, this is obviously a major distraction. We're having a pretty good season so far.
Yeah.
You know, have playoff hopes and aspirations that we have the talent to make come true. And now you got this massive big off the field distraction. You know, I mean, what do you think about, you know, now, you know, filling that void and moving on? How do you think the Raiders are going to respond?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's definitely interesting. You know, a part of me says that, you know, Gruden leaving is going to help the team just move on and just start playing the way they want to play. Because I think getting away from a coach and their coaching style can be a bit freeing for athletes. I think sometimes they feel a bit contained within the coach's play scheme, whether that's in football or soccer or you know, any other sport. You know, players will always feel kind of contained in that head coach's style, and so I think this could be a good thing for the Raiders. I think they could come out of this and be like, you know what, nobody thinks that we're going to do anything. No one thinks that we're going to make anything out of this season, and so we're just going to fight like hell to play hard. You know, and so I think that's the good part that can come out of it. The bad part is that you've got some young rookies like rookies from last season, and you know, people like Josh Jacobs, Ruggs, Brian Edwards that are trying to develop. And now that the head coach that they've been under for their short time in the NFL is gone, you know, you're just kind of like, I'm not sure what's going to happen to them. I mean, or the team, you know.
Yeah, this feels like a time to either rally or just stay defeated, and I think that depends on a lot of how the interim coach handles the situation in Las Vegas. I do believe, though, what I would love to see happen, I guess kind of long term, I would love to see, at least for the Super Bowl halftime show, an Urban Meyer, Jon Gruden fight to the death. I feel like ratings would be sky high for that.
Yes.
You know, it'd be the Super Bowl halftime show. You could still have singing and performances. You know, the winner gets to keep his job in the NFL. The loser dies. It would be high stakes for high ratings. That's what I would call it if I were pitching this to Roger Goodell. I would look forward to that, I think, more than the game. You know, maybe Eminem could play the real Slim Shady while they fight. I don't know. I think that could be fun. Who knows? You know, maybe you get Booger McFarlane and Joe Rogan to be on the call. I think that would be interesting. Everybody wins. Everybody except the person that dies, but everybody else wins. You know, saves a dude's job. Think about it that way. Think about it that way.
But anyways, you know, again, it's just obviously people are entitled to their own beliefs, whatever they want to say. You know, they can say, but again, it's just disappointing, and you're just kind of. I mean, I don't know how other people feel, but I was a bit stunned. I mean, part of me knew that Gruden was this kind of, you know, that he had this, or sorry, he portrayed himself as this kind of guy that just didn't allow for any kind of crap. But, you know, I just thought, you know, it's just kind of disappointing to see what happened.
Right.
And anyways, the interim head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders that's coming in has actually worked with Gruden in the past, and he actually won Super Bowl 37 with Jon Gruden, which is played against the Raiders in 2003. Nonetheless, and so it's going to be Rich Bisaccia, who has 19 years of experience in college football, having coached with Clemson, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. And so I'm not sure how that's going to translate, but he's been the assistant head coach for the Raiders and the special teams coordinator with us under Jon Gruden for the last 3 to 4 years. And so, I mean, whatever happens this season happens, but yeah, it's definitely not what you want to have happen 5 weeks into the season. So
no, I agree with you. I mean, he's obviously a seasoned coach. He's probably he probably knows a little bit about what he's doing after that many years of experience. One thing before we do move on, if they were to fight Urban Meyer and Jon Gruden, who would you have winning?
I got to go with my main man Chucky. Jon Gruden's going to win that.
I think Jon Gruden would win.
Jon Gruden is tough.
Yeah, he would fight tooth and nail. I feel like I don't feel like Urban Meyer. I mean, both guys are pretty old, but Urban Meyer's got a bit more health issues. I feel like he's probably a bit more out of shape. Jon Gruden, just the mentality that dude's got.
Yeah.
I feel like he's a little bit more of a fighter.
Yeah.
Got a little bit more fight in him. So
Yeah.
I would put my money on Jon Gruden. I think Vegas would probably have their money on him too.
Yeah.
There's betting for everything with a Super Bowl halftime show.
Yep.
Literally everything.
Definitely. But anyways, though, moving on to our next segment, we're still going to talk about some NFL topics, but this is a new segment called Overreactions or Not. And so, Jack, I'm going to open the floor to you for this one. So I'm going to list a few topics, and you let me know if this is an overreaction or if it's not. And you guys at home, feel free to comment down below what your thoughts are on, what your thoughts are, on these topics, because we would love to hear them. So without further ado, so let's get into the first topic. So overreaction or not, the Kansas City Chiefs are in trouble.
Oh, it's not. By saying they're in trouble, I'm taking that as there's a possibility they don't make the postseason. That's what I'm taking it as that. So I think there's a chance they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do they have extreme talent? Do they still have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes on offense? Yes. Are those guys all awesome and probably still great offensively? Yes.
Yeah.
So, they're by no means out of the race.
Mm-hmm.
But this trend that they're on right now is not good.
Yeah.
That said, they have lost to a lot of very good teams.
Mm-hmm.
They've not really lost to anybody that you're like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really bad.
Yeah.
They haven't had one of those. We're still waiting on that one.
Yep.
But they've played poor enough against the good teams that even if they did make the playoffs as like a 6 or 7 seed, which I think it would have to be that. I don't think there's any way they get I don't think they're getting home field at all.
No, it's going to be tough, especially considering that they're still going to play the Chargers, who have been pretty outstanding. So
yeah, there are just so many good teams in that that conference that they'll be like a 6 or 7 team and lose in the first round probably.
Yep.
I think that's probably their ceiling for this season.
Yeah.
I think they had Super Bowl aspirations because why shouldn't they? But this is not the season for them. It feels like everybody else is kind of having some of their best seasons in a long time, like the Chargers, like the Bills. And then they are, and they're having one of their worst seasons in recent memory. So.
Definitely, yeah, and I think this is a bit of a testament to the idea that offenses can't sustain an NFL, can't win you championships in the NFL for very long because again, when Mahomes and the Chiefs made it to the Super Bowl and when they won against the Niners, that was a fantastic season, but their defense then was great. Now their defense, as of right now, they're ranked 31st in the NFL, averaging 437.4 yards given up per game. And you're just never going to win a game when you give up that many.
They're the 31st worst defense in the NFL right now, which is the second to worst.
Yeah.
Which you can't have a playoff team and be that bad.
Yeah.
It is tough to, you have to have an absolutely explosive offense, but I mean, the thing is, once you get to the playoffs, all those teams have good offenses.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they also have good defenses.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good defense, then you're not going to be able to keep up. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you're not going to be able to stop them. And they just only need a few stops on you, and they've won the game right there.
Exactly.
So I think that's not an overreaction whatsoever. I think the Chiefs need to find a way to turn around quickly. Mm-hmm. I think their defense is aging. They got a lot of really old guys. I think they're slow.
Yeah.
I think that offensively they're still very, very good, but they got to figure out a way to turn around quick.
Yeah, for sure. And so anyways, moving on to the next topic. Overreaction or not, Jack, the Dallas Cowboys will make it to the playoffs.
Oh, they definitely will. I mean, thinking about their division, I mean, they're going to be better than Washington, the Eagles. I mean, the Giants, they just killed the Giants this last weekend. They looked awesome against them, beat them by double digits. They beat the Eagles by double digits the week before.
Yep.
So they're going to win their division. They're definitely going to make the playoffs. It's really more of a question of can they make a Super Bowl run?
Mm-hmm.
They've got some really, really talented guys on offense. They got a 2-man punch at running back with Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, both of which have had really good seasons for them. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb's a stud. So is Amari Cooper. I mean, Michael Gallup. You've got a bunch of really, really good offensive players. And then defensively, you have some of the best, you've had some great defensive guys step up this year. last year they were not good defensively.
No.
This
No,
year
they're
they
terrible.
have improved dramatically. And
Yeah.
like we talked about, if you have a solid defense and a really good offense, that's enough to carry you far.
Yeah, definitely.
And Dak Prescott's having an MVP level season.
Yeah.
Whether he'll win it or not is greatly up to debate. But
Yeah.
he is having a fantastic season too.
Yeah. And so on the topic of Cowboys and their defense, I do want to talk about Trevon Diggs. So overreaction or not, Trevon Diggs will win NFC Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, if he keeps having an interception every game, he will. I mean, he has, six interceptions in 5 games?
Yeah, 6 through 5.
6 interceptions in 5 games is like nearly impossible to do. That is so tough.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not like he had one game with 3 interceptions. He had every game with 1 interception, and one game he had 2.
Yep.
I mean, he is unbelievable. Like, Dak Prescott was quoted as saying, I don't even throw to him in practice.
Yeah.
Like, he is that good. He is one of the best corners in the NFL right now, and that man is still very, very young.
Yeah.
I'm extremely excited to see what he'll become in the future.
Yep.
I think he has a chance to be absolutely extraordinary. I do have 2 more things before we move off of NFL.
Yeah.
First off, Juju Smith-Schuster currently is taking time off football to focus on TikTok. In an interview Monday, he said, football's always been a distraction for me in my TikTok career. So I'm personally happy for him. He gets to focus now on what he loves.
Yep.
I'm sure Steelers fans are probably happy also that he's not there anymore. I mean, he, after his rookie season, really has fallen off, and now with an injury too.
Yep.
His career's kind of really gone downhill.
Yeah.
It's been tough.
Yeah.
It's been tough for him.
Yeah.
The other one has to do with the Detroit Lions. I don't know if you saw that game. I don't know if you saw the coach crying.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
In an
At his
interview.
press conference. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy shows heart at least. At least he's not pulling a what's his face? Jags coach Urban Meyer.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was. Man, the Lions are 0-5. They're going through it. Their fans are going through it. It's been really, really, really tough for them. I mean, they lost on a last-second field goal.
Yeah.
In a game that they were winning with like a minute left.
Yeah, I mean, they came back and took the lead over the Vikings, and then the Vikings just marched on the field and kicked the game winner. I mean,
oh, goodness.
It's definitely
and that's not the first time that's happened for them this season too.
Exactly.
That's not the first time. It's a sad life as a Lions fan, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's got to be tough as a Detroit fan in general. Think about their sports teams. I mean, we beat up on them a few weeks ago, so I'm going to try and avoid doing that now.
Yeah.
But my goodness.
Yeah. Tigers are sucking in baseball. Lions have always sucked in football. So.
The Pistons have not been good in years. I mean, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. I mean, yeah, I feel bad for the Lions. Genuinely feel bad for the Lions.
Yeah.
Especially after that interview where your coach is crying because he's saying how hard the players played and they still lost on a heartbreaking last-second field goal. I mean, my goodness. How tough is that?
Yeah. But anyways, folks, that's going to wrap up our NFL segment. And, Jack, I think you've got some college football stuff you want to talk about?
Yeah. This weekend in college football was on another level. It was awesome. I have not seen this good of games in a long time. We'll just go in chronological order of the day. First 2 games of the day were both 11 o'clock games. You had the Texas-Oklahoma game, the Red River rivalry, very tough to say with the R's. But the big storyline from that is Spencer Rattler getting benched. Spencer Rattler, he was on that show QB1 on Netflix.
Oh.
I watched that show. He is not a likable guy.
No.
I don't think he's a very good locker room guy. He's not a leader. He's not a guy that takes much personal responsibility. He doesn't seem to be a guy that can bounce back from getting benched for the second straight year now to a backup quarterback. This is the second time this has now happened. Spencer Rattler was 8 for 15 with 1 interception. Granted, he did have 1 touchdown and 111 yards when he got benched. which is not terrible. If you look at his stats over the season, too, he's been decent. But for a guy that was supposed to be the best quarterback in college football,
it's underwhelming.
You expect more than decent.
For sure.
And then what happened was, Caleb Williams came in and just turned it around. Texas really choked it.
Yeah.
They were up 41-23 in the third quarter. And then they lost that game 48-41? Or no, they scored another touchdown. So it would have been 55-48?
Yeah.
I think 55-48. Texas came out the gate so hot. They were up 28-7 at the end of the first. And then they benched Spencer Rattler. Caleb Williams came in, had a massive run on a fourth down. Scored a touchdown there. Came in and just started slinging it. I think this probably is a permanent change.
Yeah.
I think Spencer Rattler will probably end up transferring. Caleb Williams is a stud. He was the number one recruit for dual threat quarterbacks coming out of high school. He's a really good quarterback. He's a freshman.
Yeah.
So I would not be shocked if this is the end of Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma. Yeah. Because, we saw the boos against West Virginia. Yep. He got booed at home.
Yeah.
There were "We Want Caleb" chants at home.
Yeah.
So this has been a long time coming type of thing, I think. He played terrible against Tulane. Also, he's had a severely underwhelming season.
Yeah, and also the fact that when the rest of his teammates were celebrating their win this weekend, I saw a video of him just walking off the field.
Yeah.
And I think that just says quite a bit about his character, someone that wants to be in the limelight, the one that wants to march his team down and get that win. Obviously, he wants to be a part of that. But the thing is, he needs to realize that nothing's bigger than the team.
Right.
And he's not bigger than the team for sure. But yeah, I think that just says a lot about his character.
Yeah, and I think also it's interesting how Lincoln Riley, the coach at Oklahoma, has kind of responded to this. He didn't let Caleb Williams take the stand at the press conference. I think he's trying to kind of reevaluate this week to see what direction they want to head in. I don't think he wants to commit right now to one way or the other because of that talent Spencer Rattler does have, but that he's not really executing on Saturdays. I don't think he wants to commit because of that. But yeah, he also, people asked him about Caleb Williams, obviously, and he mentioned and by the way, Spencer Rattler, he came in for 1 2-point conversion and they converted it.
Yeah.
That was the one play he had.
Yeah.
That was it. And besides that, he did not play well. So, that's a big storyline, as a guy that was supposed to be the best quarterback in the country coming into this season. He got benched 5 weeks in. Which is no easy feat.
Yeah.
Another game, I think you watched this one because you were texting me about it. Ole Miss, Arkansas.
Yeah.
That game was incredible. That game ended 51-52. Both offenses for both teams in that second half could not be stopped.
Yeah.
And it was because it wasn't like the defenses played bad. Those offenses were just awesome.
Yeah.
They were making so many plays. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
You had towards the end of the game, Arkansas scored to tie it up, and then Ole Miss got the ball back with a minute left. And Ole Miss was playing so good, I'm like, well, that's too much time. And Ole Miss scored literally the next play.
Exactly.
Literally, no other literally the next play they scored. And I was like, well, that's too much time.
Yeah.
You just gave it back to Arkansas with way too much time there.
Yeah.
And then Arkansas drove it down
and marched down the field,
And they did a little bit better time management once they got the ball back. But they got the ball back and they scored a touchdown with just a few seconds left in that game.
Yeah.
I like the decision to go for 2 at the end. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely a conservative kind of guy when it comes to sports. So I would kick the PAT and take it to overtime. I get it. You want to win the game then and there. You don't want to have to give the ball back to the other team, knowing that their offense has been killing your defense the entire day.
Right.
So, but that's my take. Obviously, I'm sure their coach knows much better than me.
Well, on the other side, though, their offense has been killing your defense.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't have the opportunity. You're 2 yards away from the goal line. Now, the issue where the part that I have a problem with is that they have a quarterback that's massive and can run.
Yeah.
And you're on the 2-yard line and you don't do a quarterback draw.
Yep.
And give him a chance to go up the middle.
Yeah.
I have an issue that it was a pass play with him rolling out.
Yeah.
I feel like Ole Miss probably saw that coming. If it's a quarterback draw up the middle, I think that's a winning play for Arkansas.
Yeah, has to be, yeah.
He's so athletic and he's so big, and that offensive line was getting pushed all day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an easy 2-point conversion if you just run it with your quarterback. Just direct snap to him, take it up the middle. I feel like that's a winner for them.
Yeah.
So I like the decision to go for 2. I don't like the play call.
I think that's the way to say it. Going for 2 was fine. The play call, though, should have been better.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it gave him a chance to win, and one of the most fun games I've watched in a long time. I mean, that game was absolutely mesmerizing if you were watching it. You could not look away. Another game, this one's more surprising. This doesn't have to do as much with the game. Wake Forest is undefeated. Wake Forest football is not historically good, but they're 6-0. How they're 6-0, I have no idea. They had an overtime win against Syracuse by 3, so that's a big win. I just wanted to say shout out Wake Forest. 6-0 Wake Forest. Never would have thunk it going into the season. The fact that they don't have a loss astounds me. Now, another game that was awesome was Iowa-Penn State. Now, this was number 3 versus number 4. 2 really Big Ten teams going at it. And the real backbreaker for Penn State was Clifford getting hurt. And then Roberson coming in and playing terribly. Clifford was playing good. When he got hurt, they were up by 7. It was only the second quarter. And then after he got hurt, they only scored 3 points the rest of the game. And that's where the real issue was. Roberson, the backup quarterback, to Clifford, threw 7 for 21 for 34 yards and 2 interceptions.
Yikes.
Which is that's a terrible stat line. That's awful. You will definitely lose that game if your quarterback performs like that. Even then, Penn State was able to hold back Iowa for most of the game. I mean, Iowa, the fact that Iowa barely won that game speaks volumes to how good Penn State is. If Clifford stays in, Penn State wins that game pretty handily. But because he gets hurt, Iowa's able to win at home. They storm the field, whatever, have a good time. Big game for Iowa. Iowa's now number 2 in the country. I don't know how many people saw that coming to start the season. There are definitely teams that we thought would be better than them. I don't think they would be in that position, frankly, had Penn State won that game, though, and Clifford not gotten hurt. I think that was the difference. I think that Penn State's a better team, but we'll see. There's a lot of season left to be played. Iowa will probably drop one eventually because there are a lot of other really good Big Ten teams like Michigan and Michigan State this year and Ohio State, obviously. So there's plenty of room for error for this Iowa team. Now, that said, Michigan, a team I just mentioned, barely escaped Nebraska by 3. This is a game Jackson talked about last week on the show, saying that this is a game that Michigan could slip up in, and they almost did. Nebraska held their own, definitely. Nebraska's not necessarily had the best of seasons. Scott Frost, has kind of struggled there at Nebraska, but it's good to see them kind of having one of their best games in a while. Michigan felt like they were due for one, and they almost were, but they were able to narrowly escape on the road. And then one more game, LSU loses to Kentucky. This is another kind of shout-out one. Kentucky's not a historically good football team. I think this is the first time they've been this good, really, since probably Bear Bryant was there. And that was years ago. Bear Bryant, obviously, being one of the best college football coaches ever at Kentucky and then at Alabama afterwards. He just that Bob Stoops team, they're good. They're really, really good defensively. They're now number, I think, 11 in the country. They play Georgia this weekend, which will be fun. Georgia beating up on Auburn this last Saturday. Georgia's defense is so elite. That'll be a low-scoring one because both defenses are so good, but we'll see what happens. I hope Kentucky wins, if I'm being honest, simply because they're an underdog that I would love to see be awesome. If Kentucky beats Georgia, I'd lose my mind. That's one of the, even though Kentucky's undefeated, it's like one of those where it's like they're so much smaller. They're just so much smaller that you love to see it. Anyway. I think Jackson now will probably help you out.
Yeah, he will help you out make those picks for sure.
He'll help make your life better. Yeah. If you feel sad, if you feel miserable, if you have money troubles, turn to Jackson. That's the only smart way to do. Some people say invest in stocks, other businesses, diversify assets. We say no. We say go straight to Vegas, baby, with Jackson. Jackson, we're turning it over to you, man.
See you, man. Take it.
Hello again, sports fans. I'm back for this week's picks. Not so good last week. 1-4. It's atrocious, I know. Now I'm losing overall, 14, 15, and 1. I'm very disappointed in myself. So I got to go back to my roots. I got to start picking with my gut again. Quit looking at numbers. Stop crunching numbers. I just have 5 gut picks. Looked at the lines. Decided which one I like best. Pick number 1, Texas money line versus Oklahoma State. I think Texas has it figured out. They just need to figure out their defense. I think they'll figure it out this week against Oklahoma State. I don't think Oklahoma State's offense is stellar. I think Texas' offense is stellar. They'll figure it out this week and get the win against Oklahoma State. Pick number 2, Arkansas -3.5 versus Auburn. I don't think Auburn's good. I think Arkansas is decent. They've shown that through their 4-2 record, 2 wins versus top 25 teams. I think Arkansas wins by at least a touchdown. So I pick Arkansas -3.5. Alabama -17 versus Mississippi State. I think the Tide and Saban are pissed off because of their loss last week to A&M. I know I'm angry about it because I lost that game. I think they come out and blow the doors off of Mississippi State, win by at least 21. So I'm picking them -17. You should too. Next game up, I have Syracuse +14 versus Clemson. I don't know if Syracuse wins this game. I think they keep it a lot closer. It's in the Orange Dome in New York. They have a fun mascot. Syracuse does. I pick Syracuse +14. They always keep it close with Clemson and Syracuse. So take them. Next game, it's a Friday game, so bet this pick pretty quick before Saturday. Oregon -13.5 versus Cal. I don't think Cal's good. They're 1-4 this season. Oregon, top 10 team. I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns. Take them -13.5. I have a real quick can't lose parlay gut pick edition. Nebraska -3.5 at Minnesota. I think Nebraska has figured it out a little bit. I think they'll win this game against Minnesota. Giants moneyline versus Dodgers. That's a Thursday game. I think the Dodgers are good. I think the Giants are good. I think the Giants are better. Take Giants moneyline. They'll go on to the NLCS. Next game, I have Cards +3 at Browns to finish the can't lose parlay. I don't know how the Cardinals are underdogs in this game. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think they'll beat the Browns by at least a touchdown. So take Cardinals +3 at Browns. That's your 5 picks and a can't lose parlay. That's a lot of money. Thanks. See you next week.
All right, Jackson, thank you so much for those picks. Again, everyone at home, make sure to listen to Jackson. But anyways, we're going to talk about some baseball now on the podcast. We haven't talked about baseball at all, but now that
we
the
talked
postseason
about it a bit
started,
last time.
Yeah.
We did last
That's
time.
true, yeah, just a little bit. But now that the postseason is in full gear, we're going to talk about some controversial calls. One controversial call for sure that I know a lot of Tampa Bay Ray fans were pretty pissed about. And that was in Game 3 of the Rays-Boston Red Sox ALDS game. And basically what happened in this game, and I'm sure a lot of you at home know what happened, but I just want to give some context. What happened was that the ball was hit towards right field, and the Fenway Park right field wall is pretty darn short.
Right.
And so what happened was that the ball bounced off the right field wall, hit the ground, and then it hit Hunter Renfroe's hip and actually ended up going over the wall. And so everyone was kind of like, okay, do they let the guys batting and on base continue running because technically the ball was in play and then it went out of play so they can keep going? Or do they call it a ground rule double? And this really pissed off a lot of Tampa Bay Rays fans, but they called it a ground rule double, which essentially left it so there would be a man on second and third, because during the at-bat, there's a man on first base. And so in a ground rule double, obviously, anyone on base or batting moves up 2 bases. And so the Rays had a chance to score 1 run for sure, If they let the play continue, then obviously it would be 2, just because they couldn't get the ball out of the bullpen. But that was a pretty controversial call.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's a heartbreaking series. I mean, just considering the walk-offs and stuff like that Boston had against Tampa, who was a great team all season, 100-win team. When it was all said and done, they lose 3-1. This last game losing 5-6. Boston got up early. They did. They got up 5-0 in the third, and then starting in the fifth, they started this rally to come back and tie it going into the ninth, and then Boston just hits a sacrifice fly to left, and they ended up getting a run in off of that and winning the series. Which has got to be pretty crushing to the Tampa Bay Rays fans. They had an unbelievable season. To lose to Boston in that fashion, it's a little bit heartbreaking for them. But
exactly,
that's playoff baseball for you.
I mean,
that's how it goes. So. Anyway, there are a lot of other games that have also happened. That we've gotten to see.
And then moving on to the other ALDS games and series, which was between the Astros and the White Sox. They actually finished up today due to a postponement of the game yesterday because of weather. And so the Astros, as much as I hate saying this because I'm not a big Astros guy just because of what happened back in 2017, but the Astros are looking pretty darn unbeatable at the moment. Today they beat the White Sox 10-1 to move on to the ALCS, where they'll play the Boston Red Sox. But man, the Astros are just good through and through. I think when you look at their batting order, just from 1 to 9, I don't think there's really many holes, other than maybe Maldonado and Kyle Tucker, but even those guys are able to kind of flip the batting order and send it back up top. Yeah,
they absolutely dominated, the White Sox today. I mean, they won 10-1.
Yeah.
And that one run that the Sox had early was in the second.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they went on a 10-0 run.
Yeah.
I mean, and there was no stopping them, really. That run starting in the third and going all the way through the ninth. They just kind of poured it on. And Houston's kind of catching fire right now, which is exactly what you want in postseason play. Yep. They won that series 3-1.
Yep. And then right now, moving over to the NL side of things, the Giants are actually playing the Dodgers right now in Game 4 of the NLDS
You want a score
series.
update?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so right now it's the second. The Dodgers are up 1-0.
All right.
So there's a chance this game goes to 5, or the series goes to 5.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, though. The Giants currently up 2-1 right now. We won't know what the final score is probably during this podcast.
Yeah.
But, we'll see what happens. That's been a fun series all series long.
Definitely.
And then, the other series, obviously, in the NLDS is the Brewers-Braves. The Braves getting it done against the Brewers, 5-4 today. That's a big win to be able to move on also.
Yep.
Winner of that playing, advancing, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's been fun playoff baseball so far. We'll see if this series goes to 5. So we have a series go to 5 already.
Exactly.
We haven't had one of those elimination games for winner go home games is a better way to put it. We haven't had a winner go home game quite yet.
Yeah.
Those are always the most fun.
Definitely.
As a fan, it's always a little rattling when you're a fan of one of the teams, but as just a fan of sports, it's more fun for me.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I would love for that to go to 5.
Yeah, and I do want to just shout out CJ Westlow and Nick Giramonte. Good luck with the Giants tonight. I know you guys are watching right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes. But anyways, that's going to be the end of our baseball wrap-up. But we're going to move on to soccer now, where we have 2 pretty big topics that I want to get to.
Oh yeah, let's go to so you think you know about soccer.
Yeah. So first off, on Saturday, oh my gosh, I don't even know if it's Saturday or Sunday. Honestly, my days are so mixed up. But the UEFA Nations League final was played between France and Spain. France ended up winning this game 1-0 on a very, very, very controversial goal.
All right. What happened? Wait. So who are the countries? It's France and who?
France and Spain.
All right.
So basically, late on in the game, Kylian Mbappe, a forward for France, he makes a run in an offside position, right? And the ball gets played to him while he's in an offside position. He receives the ball, and he scores. And immediately, I mean, even myself, I was like, okay, there's no way that's going to stand because he was offside. But the referee let the goal stand, even after looking at it on VAR and having people in the review booths take a look at it. They still called it a goal, which was pretty ridiculous to me because he was clearly offside.
The ref French?
I don't know. I think he was English. I think he was English, but
he
yeah.
should hate France.
Yeah.
What in the world?
Yeah, but
you would think that he would just call it offsides just cause. As an Englishman.
Yeah.
That's not for Queen and Country there. That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's horrendous. I'm sure Elizabeth's very disappointed in that.
Yeah. But anyways, basically, everyone after the game was pretty frustrated just because, the goal that was scored was not a legitimate goal. France didn't deserve it. Spain definitely did not deserve that bad call to go against them. And the referee actually explained post-game. He said, Eric Garcia, the center back that was defending Kylian Mbappe, he said, Eric Garcia played and touched the ball, and although he touched it ever so slightly, the offside was essentially canceled because of the new passage of play that transpired. So, essentially in soccer, this is how I've learned it, and I think this is how everyone, plays with this rule, is that if there's someone in an offside position and someone makes a pass to them, the play's called off. Because if you are in an offside position, you are technically out of the question. You shouldn't be able to affect the game being in an illegal position.
Right.
And so in this instance, Mbappe, who was probably maybe an inch or two offside, he affected the play because he forced Eric Garcia to make that trek over to the right-hand side and touch the ball. And so I'm still baffled at the fact that this wasn't called offside just because it's pretty simple. If someone's in an offside position and they and they affect the play by having someone having to come over and cover them, it shouldn't count.
Yeah.
And basically, Garcia was forced to make the play even though Mbappe was in the offside position, and everyone kind of has the same thought that it shouldn't have counted, but when you actually look at the rules, the legitimate rules say it's a correct call. But the problem with this is that everyone who's played soccer feels that these rules have been made by people who don't understand the game and have not played it. Because it's a very different game to call when you're watching versus when you're playing, because there's just so much there's so much in between that you get from playing versus watching the games.
Right. I'm just mainly shocked that there's post-game interviews with the referees.
Yeah.
That's my main takeaway from this, is there are now post-game interviews with the referees. Now I know it. I didn't know it before.
Yeah.
Thank you, soccer.
Yeah. But anyways, that was a huge controversy this weekend. And then this isn't super new. This isn't super new information, but I did want to talk about this. And so, moving to the Premier League, which is in England, Newcastle United just changed ownership. So the original owner of Newcastle was Mike Ashley. He was the owner from 2007 to 2021.
You could say under his tenure it was now Old Castle.
Yeah,
it was Newcastle. Now it's Old Castle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But under the Old Castle, this guy was in charge.
Yeah, under Old Castle, Mike Ashley was in charge. Over the last few seasons, Newcastle fans have been pretty frustrated with how he's pretty much managed the team. People feel like he's not really committed to rebuilding the club and kind of getting them back to where they once were. And so last week, Newcastle completed the transfer of power from Mike Ashley to a Saudi Arabian owner, which
establishes the Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. And so the majority shareholders, which are the Saudi Arabian owners, are known as the Public Investment Fund. And this came as a shock to me, but they are worth a total of 320 billion British pounds.
Okay, that seems like a lot of money.
That's how much they're worth.
Yeah.
320 billion British pounds. Before that, the richest owner in the Premier League was Sheikh Mansour, who was Manchester City's owner and still is. But he's worth an estimated 23.3 billion British pounds.
Oh, okay. So these guys are very wealthy.
Yeah, these guys are insanely wealthy.
Okay.
And so obviously this has got Newcastle fans jumping up and down because come the winter transfer window in January,
they're going to get
they
some
want
studs.
people. Yeah, they want to bring people in. Obviously, I don't know if they're going to bring in the likes of Mbappe because I'm not sure if Mbappe wants to come to Newcastle. I think I think coming to the Premier League would be a great challenge for him, but I'm not sure if Newcastle's the team he wants to do it with. But, they're talking about bringing in Mbappe, Erling Haaland. People have said that they're going to bring in N'Golo Kante. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, with this kind of money, you can't. 320 billion British pounds. I mean, you can pretty much do anything you want with that money.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty insane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds, especially when it's time to get some new players.
Yeah.
Our Newcastle.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. But anyways, that's going to be the end of the podcast.
No, we got one more thing.
Oh, we do.
We do have one more thing. You forgot.
Excuse
I can't
me.
believe you forgot.
Oh my gosh. Excuse me.
That's the end of the sports segment of the podcast.
Yeah.
Is a good way of putting it. We have one more thing. Recently, a trailer dropped for a new movie that's coming out called Home Sweet Home Alone. This movie is basically a remake of Home Alone. Starting with the first. It seems like it's the first Home Alone. It seems like it's British. The main kid is British. I think he's the kid. Look, click on the main guy.
Yeah.
I think he was. What was he in?
He was in Jojo Rabbit.
That was it.
That was a fantastic
He was in
movie.
Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
That's what he was in. But yeah, so he's gonna be the new kid in that. And then one day he'll just be some washed actor. But for now, he's in this movie. And so this brought up the question for me: what classic movie would you love to see redone with a new cast, started over from scratch?
What old classic movie?
Completely because no one from the original cast is in this. I don't think.
Yeah,
Seems like it's all new people.
that's a tough one.
My first thought was Back to the Future.
That's okay. That just popped into my mind. As
I
well.
think that one would be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
I think now you go back to 80s, 90s, something like that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, especially then to make their World Series champions guess again.
Oh, yeah.
Because I just remember them guessing that the Chicago Cubs were going to win it, and hey, they did. So
They did. Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah.
They would have to do a second though and go to 2040 something.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm 100% for a Back to the Future remake.
Yeah.
I mean, the question then would be, would you want Michael J. Fox to be like Michael J. Fox's kid or something? Like have him kind of in the movie.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a transition or whatever, but
it can't just be someone completely new.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be interesting. I think you could do that with a completely new cast, but just keep the concept. That's kind of what they're doing with this.
Yeah.
Completely new cast, but keeping the concept alive.
Definitely.
That's just an interesting idea for me. I think Back to the Future would be a good one. That'd be one I would definitely want to see. I couldn't really think of many others where like you just completely recast it and then restart it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe like I don't know. I mean, there are other classic movies out there. I mean, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or The Goonies or something. But you're not going to recast that.
Yeah, exactly.
Those
are too
seem
iconic, I
recastable.
feel,
Yeah, those don't need a recast, really. And they're not... I don't know. I don't even know why they're doing this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what prompted this, but I'm
this
all
doesn't
for it.
seem necessary. And just from watching the trailer, it seems like it's the same plot as the last
Does it?
few. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it can't really differ that much. I mean...
No,
so.
All of them were basically the same. Even the sequels and the third, like all of them were the same plot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's your classic Home Alone movie, Home Sweet Home. I think it's Disney Plus.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
Is what it's coming out.
Yep, exactly.
Coming out, Arn. So that'll be fun to watch. I think it comes out this November actually.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. Anyway,
For
now
sure.
I think we've done everything for the show.
Yeah, now we have.
Now I think we've finished up.
So yeah. Anyways, that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for joining us again. If you're new, please make sure to subscribe. That would really help us a lot, just as we're still trying to grow. If you're coming back and watching again, thank you so much for following us. We'll make sure to get more videos out every week. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at the Jack and Ian Show for more content. And then I think we're good.
I think that's all we've got for this weekend. We'll see y'all next week with even more sports news.
Awesome. See you guys later.
Thank y'all.